Hey everybody!
Hey everybody! It's time for your favorite show.
It's M Class Podcast, baby.
This is where the song plays. This is where we get all the money.
Royalty checks coming in the mail. Become a patron, give us all your money.
Do it now.
That was your 90s music break. I'm Jeff.
I'm Josh.
This is M Class Podcast. Believe it or not, a Star Trek podcast.
Amazing.
Where we sit down every other week and talk about an episode of Star Trek, usually with a cool theme, like we're doing right now, which is the Court Cases
Courtroom
Collection.
They're talking about the legal system.
It's actually called the Trials Collection. I'm apparently really stupid, it turns out.
I didn't remember what it was called either.
It's called the Trials Collection.
To be fair, we were just away for a while.
Yes.
So we don't know.
Josh was in England.
Hello.
That's how they sound over there.
They say Star Trek like this Star Trek. Hello.
Are they from Brooklyn?
Captain
Star Trek.
Star Trek. It's like Christopher Walken. I can't do a good
Christopher Walken either. Don't
Hey,
set me up to
me.
fail.
Christopher Walken. Oh, that's all right.
Hello, it's me, Christopher Walken.
That's how we sound.
That's him. I did it. That one.
You nailed it.
This episode, we're going to be talking about the Deep Space Nine episode, Rules of Engagement. It's episode...
And nobody proposes to anyone.
Oh my god.
It's bullshit.
It's season 4, episode 18. If you haven't watched it yet, get off your fucking ass and go watch it, and then come back and listen to this.
Yeah, pause this. Also, if you're on Netflix, it's season 4, episode 17.
Yeah, thanks, Netflix. Also, we know that they put them up in production and the order in which they aired, everybody. Please stop telling us.
I got it.
We get it.
I understand how it works. I'm just saying it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's very silly.
It doesn't make sense why they do that. Who knows?
A little bit of background info on this episode. It aired April 8th, 1996, and it was directed...
4 days after my birthday. I was 13.
Okay. So I'm kidding. I don't really hate Josh, everybody, at least for this podcast. It was actually directed by none other than LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow.
Yeah. We'll talk about we'll get to it, but this episode there's some cool shit. There's some real cool shit in this episode. There's one like fucking all-star performance in this episode, one scene that I'll get to. I think I know what you're talking about.
But this is this was written by Bradley Thompson and David Weddle, and I found out that they literally never wrote an episode of Star Trek without one another.
They needed each other. They were like you and me.
Yeah, 100% a team, except when Josh does stuff without me.
I've never done this show without you.
That's true, and you never fucking will.
Unless you fire me.
No, you're gonna continue doing the show you got fired from without me if I fire you?
Yeah.
If I fire myself. Both of them became executive story editors and producers on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh my god. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does.
Because of the way that this is shot. And the way that they do things. This is a very unique Star Trek episode. It's very unique.
Yeah, it does stand out, even amongst the Trials collection.
Yeah. I always forget about this one, honestly. Mostly because, like, what I remember when I watch it is how much I hate the Klingon guy.
He's kind of a piece of shit.
So hateable.
Yeah,
oh my God.
He's purposefully a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's like a Klingon version of a lawyer, which makes you hate him.
Yeah, he's like an awful, awful person. But is he? I don't know.
He is.
That's lawyers.
All lawyers are, unless you're a fan of this program, then you're a good lawyer.
And you're a lawyer. Then you can be our lawyer, please. Don't.
Yeah, we're going to need one. Sooner or later, baby.
Yeah, we need one.
The episode starts out with a flashback.
Yeah.
It's a dream sequence, actually.
It's a dream sequence, which is crazy.
Not very Star Trek to start out an episode with a dream sequence. LeVar Burton was like, we're doing this shit backwards.
The only thing that is similar that I can think of off the top of my head is First Contact with the Borg dream sequence.
That's true. It's much more cinematic as well. It's like a lot of like Dutch angles and close-ups and stuff in the teaser.
In First Contact? Yeah.
No, in First Contact, but I mean in this episode, in Rules of Engagement.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's like crying like children and stuff.
Yeah, and dead children. Worf is in the USS.
That made me laugh. I like how I laugh at that.
I tried to move away from that as quick as I could.
It's like, oh man, that's an unfortunate time to laugh.
But don't worry, you'll edit it out later.
Sure.
But Worf goes around and he sees that like there's just dead Klingon babies everywhere, and Josh laughs at that. And then Worf wakes up in a cell, and you're like, wow, why is Worf in a cell?
He's in the brig.
Odo's like, hey, you better get some sleep because your trial starts in a few hours.
Your trials.
And you're like, oh no.
What happened? Yeah, it's crazy.
Worf, no.
Worf, what did you do?
There's a lot specifically about this episode that I love.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the fact that the admiral who's overseeing the trial is a Vulcan, and it comes down to emotion and motive.
I love that she's a Vulcan. She's a admiral, like a real admiral.
Admiral
like
Talara.
And she is not a psychotic Vulcan. Deep Space Nine is known for its making Vulcans crazy.
Yeah,
right?
You're either a giant fucking asshole or a psychopath if you're a Vulcan on Deep Space Nine, but Admiral Talara is not.
Or a serial killer, right? One of them is a serial
one of them is a serial killer, and another one is an arms dealer to the Maquis.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you get, like, the most logical path in life is to sell weapons of war to criminals.
Because, why not? Maquis.
But the hearing is Worf is on trial, Sisko is his advocate, and Chibok from the Klingon Empire is there, and he's like, look, we want Worf to get extradited to the Empire so we can totally not kill him, everybody.
Right.
We would never do that.
Totally not be murdered because of who he is. But so there's a lot of background information in this episode, right, that you kind of need to go into.
If you're not like an avid Star Trek watcher, you might not know what the fuck is happening in this episode. And again, I'm sorry about that.
But it's your fault.
I am absolved of all fucking blame, though. It's your fault.
Yeah, it's definitely your fault for that. Sorry.
The Defiant was under attack by some Klingon warbirds, right?
Yeah,
and
so the Klingons are at war with the Cardassians at this point.
Yeah, and the Cardassians are sending, like, food and medical supplies to their, like, civilian worlds.
Yeah.
And because of the nature of the mission being so humanitarian, the Federation agrees to send their own ships out to protect the transports. During this battle, however, which takes place during a place where there's a lot of Klingon civilian ships going through.
Sure. What a smart idea.
Yeah. The Klingon civilian transport ship decloaks directly in front of the Defiant.
Not suspicious at all.
And Worf blows it the fuck out of the sky.
Yeah, he blows it up, which is crazy, but, whatever.
He murders 441 Klingons.
Yes.
Keep that number in mind. It'll come back.
Comes back. It's important.
And this trial is not looking good for our boy, right? Like, Chibok is a fucking shark. He has real shark's teeth in his mouth.
He's like Johnny fucking Cochran.
Yeah.
He's a litigator, man. He is like fucking on fire. He's doing all the courtroom tricks. He knows the answers to all the questions he asked before he asks them because he's a good lawyer.
He's too good. And it doesn't help that Sisko is not a lawyer at all. He's a captain.
No.
and Worf is at a disadvantage, right? Like pretty heavily.
Yeah, I want to talk about that later, but we'll get there. We'll get to that point about Captain Sisko.
Yes. Sisko is feeling the heat from the trial. So he goes to meet Odo, and he's like, Odo, I need you to find information about the captain of the ship that got blown up.
Figure out if he had a death wish or he was crazy or whatever.
Like, maybe he was dishonored and he wanted to attack a Federation ship to show, like, I'm still got it, right? Like, my penis, my two penises still work.
My two penises still have lead in them.
Yeah. Ugh. But, like...
Pink lead.
Chibok is, the Klingon lawyer is, like, pretty forthcoming at this point. Like, he goes up to Sisko and he's like, hey, if Worf gets convicted and we extradite him, the Klingon Empire will be like, look, the Federation killed 441 of our citizens. Yeah. We are totally fucking absolved of all blame for going against the fucking Federation hardcore, attacking whoever we want.
It's a super fucking political move. Like, this is like some fucking, like crazy, like, political chess that they're playing.
Oh, yeah. It's not just a trial this time around. There's definite, like, political ramifications for the Federation and for the Klingon Empire.
Yeah. And, like, Worf is an easy target because he's hated in the Empire because he sided with the Federation. Also, he's always sort of been, like, an outcast, you know?
He's been thrown out of the Empire, like, 3 times at this point.
He's not real. He's not real liked.
No.
The Klingons are still like, I don't know. The Klingons had like 100 years of like reformation, right? Like after the Khitomer Accords, the Klingons like they're dying, right? So like the Federation helps them rebuild, and like the Klingons are super peaceful as much as they can be. But now the Klingons they're feeling themselves again. They're like, we're gonna be Klingons again, and we're gonna start fucking some shit up.
And we learn why that ball gets rolling later on in the season as well.
Yes.
But like the trial starts to go even further south for Sisko because Chibok's like, look, I accept all the facts about this case. What we really need to put on trial here is the motivation. Was Worf filled with bloodlust, or was he just doing his duty?
Which is such a double-edged sword, because, like, for a Klingon, that's fine. Like, you can go crazy all you goddamn want and kill whatever.
But not as a Federation, like, a Federation officer.
Right.
And as a Klingon, it's a double-edged sword for Worf for real, because, like, if he was bloodlusted, then that makes him more of a Klingon, and if he wasn't, it makes him less of a Klingon.
Right. It's a lose-lose, right?
And it's just so interesting to me that the judge in this trial about someone's, like, emotional state is a Vulcan.
I think it's great, honestly.
I do, too.
Because, like, who better than to like, know... Like, I know Vulcans, like, they don't have... Like, it's like, they don't have emotions, but they do. And, like, I think that they're experts on emotions, and they definitely would be experts on human emotions, because they spend a shitload of time around us, right?
I mean, in a way, but there's always this, like, revulsion towards emotions that keep them from really understanding them. Yeah. Like, you understand... Like, if you read a dictionary... and you look up, like, joy. You can understand joy textually, but unless you feel it, you'll never really be able to understand it.
There's a great line in Enterprise when, like, the Vulcans and humans are finally starting to, like, pave the way for the Federation. And, like, the ambassador, the Vulcan ambassador is talking to Admiral, what's his name? And, like he's saying, like, we can't classify humans. He's like, we don't know, like, what you are. One minute you're like so, like, you're so filled with empathy, and the next minute you're like crazy out of control. And like eventually it gets down to it where he's like, there is one race of one species that you do remind us of, and it's us. And like how Vulcans are like afraid of humans because like they were that.
Yeah, that's what the Vulcans were before the teachings of Surak.
Right, and it's like,
and that's why their planet got triple fucking nuked.
Boy, I can't wait till we live on Vulcan.
Yeah, we're headed that way, baby.
Whee!
Just call me Jeff Surak Pennington.
Get up on Mount Solaya, Jeff.
They call Jadzia Dax to the stand.
Oh, Jadzia.
And Dax is called as a cultural expert on Klingons, but like she sort of plays it down. She's like, yeah, Curzon Dax was an expert. Like, I know a little bit.
Yeah.
But she's really just doing it to like undermine Chibok. She thinks she's undermining him, but she's actually helping his case the whole time.
Yeah, he's too good. He's just too good.
And he brings up some pretty fucking convincing evidence that he was bloodlusted, because he's like, all right, here's this holosuite program where like there's this violent fucking endless battle, and at the end of it, whoever plays the main character gives tells all of his soldiers to murder every man, woman, and child in the city.
Yeah.
And Worf was playing the leader.
Right.
And he did give the order. And they're like, all right, when did it happen? And he's like, all right, it was the day before he left for his mission.
Yeah, that's some fucking real shitty evidence. Circumstantial.
It's very circumstantial, but like when you put someone on trial for their motivation,
right,
everything is going to be circumstantial.
All flies, yeah. I love, okay, so like when this is the first time we see like the Rashomon of this episode, like when like the narration, like it's like when they're talking, when they're saying their lines in the trial, it cuts to them in the situation that they're talking about.
And they look at the camera and say
they look at the camera.
Lines.
It's, oh my god, it's so good, and I've never seen that in any Star Trek ever. It's like perfect. I love it.
I mean, they sort of. No, they don't do that, but I was thinking about in The Pale Moonlight when Sisko speaks directly to the audience the entire time.
It's very similar. It's very similar to that.
I really do love that in this episode, though.
Yeah, super Rashomon. Like, you're seeing it from the point of view of the person telling the events that happened. And it's different, right? Like, it's different every time. It's cool.
And, like, Worf is also not very smart in the way he's handling this trial.
He's too proud. He's just too proud.
Because they're like, all right, we have, when he brings up the fucking, the game, the holosuite game, he's like, it's like inadmissible in court because you didn't have permission.
They didn't get a search warrant.
Yeah. And Worf is like, just do it.
Yeah.
And if I was Worf, I would have been like, all right, we'll put it away.
yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're doing, right? Yeah. Dude.
But, like...
Klingons.
It's his pride, right? Like, Klingon's biggest downfall, almost every Klingon is their pride.
Yeah, that's how you stop them.
And, you know, there's something very psychoanalytic about the Star Trek races. Like, every one of them is just a piece of the human puzzle.
Yep.
And... Klingons are not only like the visceral, violent part of our psyche, but they're very much the prideful version of our psyche.
Exactly. That's I was thinking about that too, like about the holosuite program itself, like the siege and the ordering, the killing of the women and children and stuff. And I was like, oh, you mean so like every battle that ever happened on Earth?
Yeah.
Ever?
It's hard to start casting stones, you know?
Yeah, like, so, like, it's one thing to read about, like, Genghis Khan, right, and be like, wow, that's crazy, and it's another thing to be, like, there, and like, it would be horrifying.
Yeah.
It would be horrifying.
Could you imagine that, though, like, if you were on trial for, like, a crime you didn't commit, like, a violent crime, like, maybe they collared you because the guy who played the Irish villain on Daredevil killed a guy. And they were like, that's Josh Henderson.
That's him, yeah.
Get him.
Me, yeah.
So they got you on trial, and they're like, well, let's see what video game he played yesterday. And what he did
Skyrim.
in it.
Yeah.
It might just be that you built a house for 18 hours in Skyrim. Which would probably get you exonerated immediately. Or it could be that you slaughtered an entire village of people as a fucking vampire in Skyrim. Who knows?
Yeah, I went in and then I just like decided that was it for Whiterun. Right? Yeah, that was it. And everyone's dead.
And what does that say about you? Really, it says nothing. It's just a video game.
It's just an event that I did, like, mindlessly, right?
But then you think about the fucking way there's a slant against violence in video games that, like, it creates real violence still to this day, even though, like, psychiatrists and specialists are like, well, that's bullshit. There's no correlation at all.
Right, there's nothing, yeah.
Like, the two Columbine kids played Doom or whatever, but, like, everyone played Doom.
Yeah, who didn't play Doom? Like, that was like the game.
Yeah, we all played Doom and none of us killed anybody. There's no correlation. Or there's no causation. Like, that's right. Correlation without causation.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I mean, it's all like building your what's it called? Where it's like without reasonable doubt.
Yeah,
right?
You're trying to create. You're trying to destroy the reasonable doubt. Really,
exactly. And what's his name? The Klingon
Chibok.
Chibok.
Yeah.
He like says, I look forward to playing on your battlefield, and he does exactly that. He's using what's our legal system in America now, which is the Federation's in the show, is you need to prove with beyond a reasonable doubt that it happened, right?
Yeah, you have to. The proof of guilt is on the accuser.
Right, exactly. And which in Klingon judicial system is not the way it is.
No, he mentions specifically that he finds it strange.
Yeah.
Chibok actually puts Cisco on the stand next.
Yeah.
And I feel like Cisco had a bit of a misstep during this as well.
Yeah, he's not having like a real good day.
Yeah, he gets the chance to add something at the end of the examination and he doesn't. He just lets it go. I think that was a mistake. But I mean, it turns out fine. But it may not have, if not for Odo.
Yeah, Odo, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. But like... They describe the mission, which we already went into. You have to help the colonists get their fucking medicine and food and stuff.
Yeah.
And guard the convoy. And they're like, well, why did you choose Worf for this? And Sisko says, well, he's a command officer, and he has the experience necessary. And as a Klingon, he would know how the altercation with the Klingons might go. He has that experience.
Right.
He puts a point on it that it was it was just a mission to protect the convoy. That's it.
Right.
And Chibok plants that little seed, right? That little seed that he's gonna grow into his counter argument.
Mm-hmm.
And Sisko just lets it go.
Yeah.
And we get our funny Quark scene afterwards.
Oh my god. Oh, the fucking Quark scene. Oh my god.
There's a masterful fucking moment in this Quark scene where he's talking about Bashir is talking up this lady at the bar and he's trying to figure out which lady it is and it keeps replacing him.
They all have names that sound similar. It's so...
Yeah. It keeps replacing the lady, and it keeps replaying the scene, and then finally he's like, no, it was Morn and this girl. And he turned to her and said, and it cuts.
And it cuts to Chibok, and he's like, can we move on? And it's like, we were gonna hear what he was gonna say!
It's so fucking perfect. Like, the running joke of Morn never speaking to us, the audience, is perfect.
You get that joke as, like, the kicker. And the build-up is, like, that Bashir is, like, a playboy, right? And he's, like, hitting on... It could have been any of them. It could have been all of them, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a really funny scene, and it's, like, expertly crafted.
It's so good. Oh my god.
But Quark says that Worf was in a good mood, which is weird.
Yeah, Quark's being, like, real, like, not helpful.
No, he's like, yeah, I don't remember what he said, or, like, what kind of mood he was in, or...
Yeah, I don't know. And he doesn't talk to his bartender, right? That's what he...
Yeah, but he's like, I mentioned that the Klingons would probably attack, and Worf said, I hope they do, and I was...
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you fucked it, Worf. You fucked it.
Like, but that's again, that's like the Rashomon aspect of this. Is like, maybe he did say that, or maybe he said something similar, and Quark is remembering that. Like, you know what I mean?
Be, but like Worf reacts pretty embarrassed, like when he says it. Like he's pretty flustered, right? And it's very much not like, oh, you set me up, you little rat. It's like, oh shit, I did say that.
He got me. Right? Yeah.
I love that Quark gets a part in this episode, though.
Dude. That one scene alone is like, you could just show that to anyone who's never seen the show and be like, here's what this character is, and that's exactly it.
I mean, you get like a pretty nice view of Quark in that. Like, he's not like the seedy piece of shit that he comes off as a lot.
Yeah, he's not pulling like any of his like weird scams.
Yeah, he's not trying to force one of his fucking bartenders to have sex with him.
Yeah, which is super...
What a scamp, right?
1996. Sexual harassment was so funny.
You know what? We should probably take a break.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsor. It could be
HR.
Our sponsor, Human Resources Downstairs.
No survivors.
441 Klingon civilians were killed.
No excuses.
Worf gave the order to fire. If I had hesitated, I would have been negligent.
No escape.
At this point, the only one who can help Worf is Worf.
On trial for murder.
Objection!
Will one deadly mistake
Fire
be Worf's ultimate disgrace?
Oh, no!
On the next Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
And we're back to the Rules of Engagement episode, Josh. It's called Rules of Engagement.
That's the name of it, and I totally remembered it. I didn't forget the name of it.
Sisko, there's a lot of like breaks in this trial, which doesn't seem like standard procedure.
My favorite part is like when, like, right in the beginning, Odo is like, it's 400 hours, you might want to get some sleep. Your trial's in 4 hours. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And then like they go to like,
and it lasts
the trial.
like 10 minutes.
It's like 1 second, and they're like, tomorrow at 3 p.m. the trial will start.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Why did we sit here for? Like, what are we doing here now?
Worf is like, fuck, I gotta go back to a cell all night.
Yeah, you're gonna make me just sit here for like 17 hours? Fuck that shit.
Jesus Christ. Should have stayed with the Klingons. But like, there's a break in the trial, and Odo and Sisko talk, and Odo's like, look, the captain was just a guy. Like, everybody loved him. He had like a dog that he loved named Frou Frou. He donated to charities on Klingon planets all over the system.
He knit, which is weird.
Yeah, it's weird for a Klingon to knit, but
yeah, he did though.
Everybody thought he was really great at his job, which was captaining freighters. And so Sisko's like, well, why the fuck did it decloak in front of the Defiant then?
Yeah.
And Odo goes, Buh.
I don't know, Captain, but I don't know. That's my Odo.
Odo says, Odo shrugs, and the fucking, oh god, I fucked that joke up. Anyway. I didn't have a joke, guys. I thought it would come to me.
It's late.
It is late. But then the hearing just starts again. Like, a lot of starts and stops.
Yeah.
But Miles O'Brien is called to the stand.
Oh, Chief O'Brien.
I love that guy.
Love that O'Brien.
And instead of having a big Joker smile, your face just shrinks to the middle of your head.
It's O'Brien.
Love that O'Brien.
You just look like Miles O'Brien. Looks mad. It's just browbeaten because you're Miles O'Brien.
Oh. Well, he describes the situation again from his point of view.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I stand by Worf's decision. He's a great guy. I've known him for 9 years, and he's an honorable man. And Chibok's like, well, you said you stand by it.
Yeah.
But would you have done it?
Wait, would you have done it? And they do this really cool like he's like, let's just say hypothetically that something happened to Worf and you had to take command.
Yeah, he's like, would you have taken command of the Defiant? He's like, yeah, I would have. And he's like, well, what would you have done? And O'Brien, like, fights back against it, like, a lot. He's like, well, I wasn't there. Like, I can't tell you what I would have done in the moment and everything.
Yeah, it didn't happen that way. It's a completely different situation,
yeah,
right?
He's like, that's an unfair question. And Chibok's like, I don't give a fuck. Answer it.
Which is crazy because he says fuck.
Yeah,
like,
they talk about that shit in Discovery being a big breakthrough, but Chibok said it back in '96.
Yeah, he also whipped his 2 dicks out right on the table, and everyone saw them.
He tried to helicopter them, but they got all twisted together.
Oh, like when you spin around like a thing. Yeah, I know.
They got all twisted together like that ice cream that's made out of red and orange sherbet.
Rocket pop?
Yeah. Except not, because that'd be weird if it was like one dick and then like a spool of another dick and then a third one at the end.
Yeah, 3 dicks is too much.
Yeah, I feel like 2 dicks is pushing it, but you could probably figure it out. But Chibok's like, yeah, would you have done it? And O'Brien's like, fuck. No,
yeah,
and he's like, I say no because I know like 400 fucking children or whatever will die.
Right. After the fact, it's unfair. It's totally unfair because you already know the outcome. So
yeah, he still said no though, and like it shows the Admiral, and she's like, I'm a Vulcan, so I'm not showing emotion, but I'm kind of showing emotion that I think it's fucked up.
I'm intrigued. It's like, that's the Vulcan, like, oh.
Yeah. But then, like, there's another break.
Yeah, they love recesses. They love playing on the playground at recess.
Yeah. Sisko's like, I call for a recess of the trial so I can go eat lunch.
Oh, dude, one of my favorite things from that flashback, though, is Michael Dorn is the helmsman, but not as Worf.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that. Fuck, that's a fun fact of the week.
That's a fun fact. I had one. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yes, I got one.
We got one.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think it's his voice though. If it is, he throws his voice crazy because he does not talk like that. So, but it is him, like, just without the makeup on.
Damn, I'm impressed. I didn't know that shit.
It's cool.
But, like, Sisko's having a coffee, and Chibok's like, hey, can I sit next to you? And Sisko's like, fucking I guess.
Yeah.
And
fucking hate you.
He's like, yeah, Worf is going to testify next. And, like, Sisko, if you need to give up. Yeah. Because your ass is done.
Dunzos.
And you should let me take Worf back to the Klingon Empire, and I'll totally defend him for real. I'll make sure he definitely doesn't get killed.
Yeah,
which is definitely not what I'm trying to make happen.
Definitely won't get killed or sent to Rura Penthe, which is worse than death.
Yes. And Sisko's like, look,
penal asteroid of Rura Penthe.
The double penal asteroid.
Hey! Holy shit! Oh my god.
Sisko's like, look, you just showed your hand that you're worried about something, about Worf saying something, and Chibok's like,
dude,
it is you that should be worried.
Yo, so, like, Sisko is really, like, becoming, like, a really great captain, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
This is, like, what I love about him is that he like, fucks up, and he doesn't do everything, like, right all the time. He's not like Kirk or Picard, who, like, gets it right almost immediately. Like, he gets beat up a little bit, but then he, like, comes back, and he's, like, better.
He comes back better, and he comes back with just this raw intensity that none of the other captains have.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love him. I love him.
And then, like, there's another... I guess the recess is still happening, because Odo's like, hey, Sisko, none of the passengers have any connection to Worf or any reason to kill him or anything.
None of them are anybody, right?
Yeah, like, never heard of any of them. Yeah. And so they put Worf on the stand. And you see things from his point of view.
Yeah.
And he mentions that he was excited for the opportunity to do battle.
Yeah, he loves fighting
But he's like, that's because I'm a Klingon, and I've never let it, like, cause any problems before, so I didn't let it cause a problem now.
Right.
Like, my record speaks for itself. And he's like, look, O'Brien, he's like, well, you heard O'Brien's testimony. Like, what do you think of that? And he's like, well, O'Brien's my friend, and I love him, and we kiss all the time.
Yeah.
But
I do remember that.
He doesn't know what it was like in that moment. You know, he's looking back.
He's not a commander. Like, he doesn't command ships. Like, he doesn't do that.
He's like, yeah, the chances of running into a civilian ship, and I agree with this, by the way.
This is a really good point.
The chances of running into a civilian ship in the middle of a fucking battle.
Right. In space. Which is fucking infinite.
And not only do you run into it, but it fucking appears out of nowhere, directly in front of your guns.
Right, that's like, it's like impossible. It's like infinitesimally small.
Yeah.
How hard that would be.
So Sisko's like, would you do it again? And Worf's like, yeah. I had a duty to protect the convoy and my ship and crew, so I would do it all over again. And Admiral Talara likes this answer, although she doesn't show it because she's a Vulcan.
I like how Admiral Talara is like a video dating sim.
Yeah, she likes this answer. Your fucking love connection with her is growing.
A little heart bubble above her head appears, and she's like, "Oh, I like that answer."
Admiral Talara does not like that decision.
Oh no!
But Chibok comes up and he's like, "Worf, are you mad that the Empire kicked you out?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, of course I am. You know, I don't like that. I don't like that." And Chibok's like, "Are you sure that they don't like you because you sided with the Federation, or maybe they don't like you because you stupid fucking face?" Like, he just starts goading him, right? He's like, "You probably only got one dick, idiot."
He says that, which is crazy.
And
like at the time in '96, everyone was like, "Well, why wouldn't he have one dick?"
They were like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, but now we know why he says it, right?
Thanks, Discovery, finally clearing up that mystery from '96.
Yeah. Way to go.
But like, Chibok's like, "Yeah, you're not a true Klingon, man. You disgust me."
Yeah.
Like, all those dead children you murdered are in Stovacor now.
Yeah, he's like, did you like mourn? And he's like, did you cry for them? Which is like really like,
he's like, did you weep for them?
Yeah, did you weep for them? And he's like, I grieve for them. And then he's like, you grieve for them? What kind of Klingon grieves for them? They're the honored dead. They died in battle and they're in Stokor now. Like, he's like really fucking like playing on that Klingon.
He's like really pushing all of his buttons perfectly.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, you wanted the Klingons to attack because you wanted to prove yourself and show the other Klingons that you're a real Klingon. And your son is a bitch, and he's gonna grow up and have to figure out that his dad's a bitch too.
Yeah.
And Worf's like, "Fuck you!" And he gets up and punches him.
Yeah.
Really awkwardly.
And Sisko's like, "Worf, no!" Like, it's like all add like ADR, and it sounds weird. Like, the sound gets really weird.
Yeah,
in this part.
It does. Also, like, none of his blows even slightly connect.
Yeah, I notice it every time I watch it. I'm like, oh god, this like weird part where he punches him like quietly.
Yeah, and then like Chibok's like, look, you said you'd never attack a man that was unarmed, but maybe you should have said you wouldn't attack him unless you were mad.
Oh shit,
bitch!
What like this guy is so hateable.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's so hateable.
Even after he gets his shit rocked, you're still like, fuck, he's still winning.
Yeah, I mean, he does it, he like, it's so smart. He knows that, like, I'll just get punched and then I'll win.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Why not? He's a warrior, he can take it.
Yeah, he's Klingon, he knows.
There's something about Chibok that I wanted to talk about. Now's as good a time as any.
Is it about how he's a Klingon and he's an asshole and, like, he's, like, just, like, a different kind of slimy asshole? Like, Klingons aren't normally like that,
yeah,
right?
Well, the thing I wanted to bring up about him specifically is something that happens anytime a Klingon isn't a warrior.
Yeah.
There's this, like, massive inferiority complex in them. Where they just, like, try to pretend like whatever they're doing is actually being a warrior.
Well, that's the caste system, right? Like, that's the thing, is, like, the warrior class is, like, the reigning class. Like, they rule Kronos. So, like, everybody else who isn't a warrior, which is, like, not very many, well, at least not many that you don't ever see, really.
Yeah.
Like, they all have to warrior up what they do, right?
Yeah, it's super inferiority complex, and it's built into their society, but it's, like, it's not as obvious in Chibok as it is in, like, the TNG Klingon who's, like, a scientist that works with Crusher.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there, like this chip on their shoulder.
The chip on the shoulder, exactly.
But Admiral Talar is like, well, we're gonna convene, so I make my decision. And Sisko just
another recess.
She goes and plays on the slide.
We'll be back in 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute recess.
Couldn't you imagine, like, a Vulcan sliding down, like, an old metal playground slide? Like, no joy on their face at all.
I think that this needs to be a thing. I would love to see it. And then they're like, what is the purpose of this? Like, that's what they ask, like, whoever they're, like, talking to. That would be a great, like, scene in a movie where, like, they go back in time or something to, like, our time.
Yeah.
And the Vulcan is, like, on the like it'd be like Frankenstein. Like, a Vulcan meets a child, and the child's like, well, I play, like, on the playground. That's what I do. And the Vulcan's like, I don't understand
The Vulcan's
this.
like, this is highly illogical. But, like, Odo brings Sisko a pad into his office. Odo's like, I've got some news for you, boss. Because Sisko's like 2 steps away from just drinking, because he's like, fuck, I really fucked this one.
he really didn't. Yeah, it's not good.
But then, like, the best scene in the fucking episode happens. The one I was talking about at the beginning, the one that really is like a fucking all-star performance.
Yeah.
Sisko is like shit-eating grinning when he comes in. He's just got this super intensity to him. And he's like, I call Chibok to the stand because he's an expert on Klingons and the Klingon Empire. And he just leads him around like a fucking dog.
Oh, man, no, it's so great. It's so great because, like, he fucking, like, Chibok doesn't have to go up. And Talar is like, I can't compel you to testify. You don't need to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And Sisko, like, kind of, like slowly, like, lawyer walks over to him, and he's like, care to step into my battlefield? And, like, no Klingon worth their salt would say no.
No,
like,
so he's entrapped by his own pride.
Yes, he's got him.
Yeah,
yes.
And, like, he plays him like a fucking fiddle. Like, he just leads him from one point to the other. Like, what's the relationship between the Federation and the Empire? And he's like, there's not one, you know? It's like...
Yeah, it's complicated, right? It's basically the answer.
But, like, he hands him a pad, and he's like, identify the list of names. And he's like, they're the victims of Worf's attack.
Yeah, I'll never forget them.
Yeah, he's like, how do you know they're the victims? He's like, they're burned into my mind.
Yeah, they're seared into my memory. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, really? Because that's a fucking log of people who died in a ship crash on another planet.
Yeah.
And he's like, And
he's like confused. And
he's like,
this is the part. Yeah,
here's the list of people who died in Worf's attack. It seems like they're the same, huh?
Yeah. Dude, it's great. It's so great. Like, I can never, whenever I watch this, I can never, I mean, I guess, like, he knows, right? Like, Chibok knows that it was all a lie.
For sure. Like, he gets completely trapped in his own lie, and he's like, is it possible that, you know, he says all that stuff, and he goes, yes!
Yeah, is it possible that, like, maybe this was all a bunch of shit, is basically what he says, right? And he makes him admit it. It's, oh man, it's so
It's
good.
the best scene, and, like, the intensity that Sisko is giving off in that scene.
Oh, Avery Brooks
fucking palpable.
Like, dude, Avery Brooks is so fucking great. Like, that dude, man. Like,
he really is. Like, he's so good at being, like, the approachable, down-to-earth style captain.
Yeah.
But then, like, on a dime, he can become the super authoritarian that you'd never want to have to go into his office.
Yeah, he's like a goddamn, like, I would follow him anywhere. I would be like, dude, this dude, it knows what he's doing.
Follow that man in the gates of hell, man.
Yeah, I'm going with him. He knows what he's doing.
There are a few captains. Actually, there are only 3 captains I would follow into the gates of hell. Kirk, Picard, and Sisko.
The 3, for me, all Janeway.
You would definitely be going to the gates of hell then.
Triple Janeways.
Janeway's crew dies less than everyone else's, but it's only because she has so many less people on it.
Like Archer.
Yeah.
You can't start killing everybody. There's not too many of them on this ship.
People still die pretty fucking heavily in Voyager, but just not the same
no, they
level.
die a lot. Yeah, just because of like all the crazy shit they run
But yeah,
into.
like Avery Brooks gets shit sometimes for being kind of hammy.
I never think that it's hammy though.
See, I thought at the beginning, like in season 1, it was kind of hammy, but really,
when
it
he's
just
being
became intense and like really. He was so good at showcasing the two sides of Sisko's personality, especially like when he's with Jake.
When he's Super Dad, it's annoying, right?
Oh, you don't like Super Dad?
It's not like the worst thing.
I like Super Dad.
Super Dad turns into the character. I think it took him a little while to find the character, right? And like, I think you could like make a case for this, and like this could be like somebody's like research paper, like. Because he's not a captain, and like the character isn't developed fully for him to play, whereas like when he's a captain now he is finding his like himself, and I think that the actor is also finding the character.
Oh yeah,
because of that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think really when he becomes a captain, they really play up the difference between being a commander and a captain. Like how much more responsibility is placed on you, and like. How many more eyes are on you watching everything you're doing to make certain you're doing the right thing?
Yeah, and like I think that's one of the reasons like I appreciate TOS a lot more now, having watched a shitload of it, because they really hit that home that like captains are like super under scrutiny a lot, right? Like you're in charge of basically a Death Star that could blow up a planet. So you gotta do shit right, and it's gotta be like all the time. And like they talk about that like when they cut to Worf living in the Defiant because he's like a sad sack because he lives there because he hates everybody, right? And Sisko is like, we did it. There's a party, and then he kind of switches gears on Worf, and he says like,
I love that.
If you're gonna be if you're gonna wear that red uniform, you have to understand that like it's not just about like protecting your crew. It's so much more. Like you might have to die to save people you don't even know, and like that's what being a Starfleet captain is. It's not about like, well, my crew. It's about like the Federation means more than that. Like, we die because people live. Like, that's such a great fucking scene says...
There's a lot of talk, and I mean, when I first started watching DS9, like, I felt the same way. There's a lot of talk about Deep Space Nine, like, maybe losing the trail a little bit when it comes to the vision of the Starfleet future, like, the Trek mission behind everything. That scene encapsulates it perfectly.
Yeah. It's great.
It's so good. And
like
the fucking
that idea. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the switch that you were talking about is another like favorite moment when Sisko's like, "Hey, they're having a party for you," and Worf's like, "I shouldn't have accepted that mission," and he just switches and he's like, "You're damn right,
god damn right," and you're like, "Jesus fuck, my dad's yelling at me."
And he's like, that was your first mistake. What was your second?
What was your second?
Oh no, Dad's mad.
Oh my god, I'm in school. Oh no, I'm playing football and I'm getting yelled at. Dude, that's what it reminded me of, like a coach, right? Yeah, man. I love the way that he's just like unforgiving, but like he himself. It's so interesting because he himself like fucks up. Like he's not perfect. Like at the beginning of the episode, he's like swinging and missing, man.
Yeah.
Like he's not hitting home runs.
Well, I mean, I think that's a like 100% difference between Picard and Sisko.
Yeah.
Like, if you fuck up under Picard, he'll give you this very understanding little speech and then you move on or whatever. Sisko believes there should be consequences for fucking up.
Right. He's more military.
Yeah.
Like, he's more like a military man.
He's definitely has like an authoritarian streak in him, where he believes like the best way to learn from a mistake is to suffer the consequences of it.
Right.
Picard's not normally like that.
I can think of one, like the only instance I can think of where Picard basically says, "Shut the hell up and do your job," is when Data loses the whatever finger chest thing to that guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Data, fucking get on the bridge. You leave your self-doubt in your quarters," or whatever. And like that's the only time I can think of him being like that. Where Sisko's just like he's a coach. He's like a football coach. Like it's all about like discipline and like mental discipline as well as like physical discipline, right? It's crazy.
He teaches you the lessons. This is a hard knock teacher kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's still pretty understanding. I mean, it's the enlightened future. He's not like an actual school coach.
Right. He's not like whipping people and making them run laps and shit. But
I mean, like more so than the other captains for sure.
Yeah.
Like every captain has their style of captaining.
Yeah, and what's the guy? DeSoto? Maybe he's a little more... Not DeSoto.
The guy from Discovery?
No, the guy who takes over the Enterprise when Picard's
Jellicoe?
Lights. Jellicoe. Yeah. Maybe Jellicoe's a little more like that, because he's kind of a prick.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many, like, Jellicoe apologists in the world.
Yeah.
It's like... He's the captain or whatever, and, like, his rule is law, but, like, he knew he was coming into a different situation with a different setup, and he should have been more accommodating to the slow changing of things.
Right,
but he just came in and expected everyone to already know how he wanted things done.
Right.
And they had to do it immediately.
Not a very good leader. You can't do that.
Also, he came in and completely undermined his first officer and refused to listen to anything he ever said. That's not good captaining.
Yeah, that's shitty. That's a shitty captain.
Jellicoe's probably great on his own ship, but he did a pretty piss-poor job on the Enterprise.
Yeah, it's the Enterprise, bitch. You gotta step up your fucking game.
That's right. Flagship, baby.
That's right.
This episode, though... ends with like a great moment where Worf says, life's gotten a lot more complicated since I put on this red uniform.
Yeah.
And Sisko says, just wait until you get 4 pips on it.
You wish you had, what does he say? You wish you would have studied botany.
Yeah, botany. Fucking loser study botany and fucking Keiko.
What a nerd!
Keiko O'Brien's just fucking crying in the background.
Yeah, man, I don't know. This episode is so good on so many levels that I feel like we're spoiling ourselves, Jeff. Like we have 2 good ones in a row. 2 really, really good ones.
And the next one we're doing is the Drumhead, which is also a fucking immaculate episode.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. I feel like any minute now we're gonna have to watch a bunch of shitty episodes.
Coming up next, the Satan's Collection.
With Rumpelstiltskin. Who counts as a Satan.
He's a Satan.
There's a pretty good episode of a Satan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the TNG one with the lady.
Yeah, it's not a bad episode.
That one's good.
Lady Satan. It's pretty good.
Lady Satan. I think that this episode, like, getting back to that, I think this does so many things that, like, that this show that... Let me start. Sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Like, this show is so good at, like, developing its characters, and this episode alone, like, develops Sisko and Worf simultaneously. Because, like, Worf is new to the show this season, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't get to see a whole lot of him. And, like, they're telling Worf's stories, because, that's what they're doing. But, like, they're setting up his character more than they do in, like, TNG almost. And Sisko, at the same time, as, like, being this, like, just a pretty fucking good captain, I think that that's what makes this show unique from all the other Star Treks, is, like, there aren't many episodes in this show that don't do that. And that's that Ronald D. Moore shit. That guy knows how to fucking
There's always
write the
momentum in Deep Space Nine.
Yes. Yeah, it's always going forward, and that's Ronald D. Moore.
Speaking of the relationship between Sisko and Worf, I've got a John Larroquette fun fact of the week for you.
That they kissed each other, and I like got a boner, and what is it? What's your fact?
Continue with that story.
That was it. I jizzed.
Okay, as long as you jizzed. In the original version of the story, Sisko was on trial, not Worf.
Oh, and was Worf his advocate?
No. But it did turn out that the Klingon ship that was destroyed was a holographic projection.
Okay, that's terrible.
And Ira Stephen Bear is the one who decided we're going to switch it to Worf, and we're going to get rid of that hologram shit.
Thank God.
So there was your fun fact of the week from me.
That's a great fun fact because it involves one of my favorite tropes, the Scooby-Doo projection. It was a hologram.
Old Man River.
Why did you blow up the Klingon ship? I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you Starfleet kids.
I don't have any other fun facts, I guess. Shit.
My fun fact is that this episode is great.
This is a fucking dope episode, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, this season rules this is such a good season of DS9. Like, I love this season.
I wanted to talk about LeVar Burton directing this episode.
Yeah.
He says that he did not see Rashomon while filming this.
That is hard to believe.
Oh no, he says he does. Never mind. I just read that Glenn Newfield, who was the AD, said that he saw Rashomon, but no, LeVar Burton said that he did as well. So that makes perfect fucking sense.
I don't think anybody who's ever had to go sit in any kind of acting or film thing hasn't seen it.
Rashomon's fucking great.
It's like mandatory viewing for anybody who does anything. I haven't seen it since college. I've probably seen it like maybe once or twice. But it's like it's so good. Oh my god. Any Kurosawa.
Yeah.
I'll watch any fucking Kurosawa
no
movie,
doubt.
Dude. I don't give a fuck.
Fucking, talking about a fucking master of his craft.
Dude, Seven Samurai is like 27 hours long, and I'll
still fucking watch that whenever. It is so good.
It's so good that they made an American version of it, and that movie is also good.
Yeah, like, how many times does that fucking happen?
It happens with Kurosawa because they stole all of his shit.
Yeah.
That's, Fistful of Dollars is fucking Yojimbo. It's the same fucking thing, man.
Fistful of Dollars is really fucking good. Like, I feel like people get caught up on the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is my favorite of the three.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More are both so fucking good.
That trilogy, there was a time where I just watched it like all the time. Dude, I watched all of them.
Like,
I love them.
My wife teaches film as literature course.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
One of the things she teaches is she uses the good, the bad, and the ugly for like multiple reasons. Like the fucking, I don't remember what exactly she uses it for, but she always shows the Mexican standoff scene.
The three, when they're in the graveyard.
Yeah, when Tuco, Blondie, and Angel Eyes are in the graveyard, and
it's so tense, and it just keeps getting more and more intense.
And that music, like, sometimes that music just starts in my brain, and I have to go to fucking YouTube and watch that scene again.
I can watch that movie again. That movie's like 5 hours long,
but it's so good.
But you gotta watch it, man. It's
the funny thing about that movie is it's like, all of the advertising for that movie still to this day, it has the man with no name on all of it.
Yeah.
But it's really a movie about Tuco.
That's who, he's like the main character.
Yeah, he's the real main character. And it's like, you can see that Mexican standoff scene, and you can learn so much about those three characters just from the close-ups on their eyes.
Yeah. Tuco's like twitchy, and he's
he looks
he doesn't know who to trust. Yeah, he doesn't know who to trust, right?
And like Angel Eyes is like, his eyes are shifting constantly, and he's like, he has that nervousness beneath the surface that he's like hiding.
because he's untrusting as well.
Yeah, you see like the little sweat drop go down his cheek.
Yeah,
but he still has like a steely gaze.
And Man with No Name is just so self-confident that he doesn't. He just knows.
He's
just
barely like showing. He has no signs of worry whatsoever.
It's amazing, man. Like, I mean, that character is like Mary Sue as fuck, right?
It's true. Like, well, not really, because he really suffers horribly in that movie.
He does. Yeah, he does get fucking almost killed.
Yeah.
But in terms of like just like he's like a superhuman. Like he shoots that rope from like I don't know like 600 yards
he's like
away.
the greatest gunman that ever lived.
It's like absurd, right? It's like a cartoon, but like I goddamn love those movies, dude.
I do too. Some of my fucking favorite movies ever.
Dude, oh god, just every scene in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is just another scene where you're like, oh my god, I forgot this is happening now. You know?
I always like forget about the scene where Tuco's in the bathtub and the guy comes through the window and Tuco like shoots him from beneath the bathtub water.
Yeah.
He just had the gun in the bath with him.
He's like, always check, make sure when you have to talk, we have to shoot. That's the line. Yeah.
Well, he's like, there are two types of men in the world: those that come through the window and those that have guns.
That's god. He's always doing there's two types of men. There's two types of this. There's two types of this.
I fucking love at the end of the movie when Blondie's like, "There's two types of men in the world: those who have the gun and those who dig." Yep. You dig.
You dig, and he hands him the shovel.
I fucking love that movie so much. And like westerns are a really great genre to use for like making really fucking great movies and telling stories, but it's a shame that like the big glut of western movies happen during one time and they're all terrible.
It's incredible. Like it's incredible to me though, like even like the modern westerns, there's some fucking super good ones.
Oh yeah,
Unforgiven is fucking believable.
Dude, Tombstone is a fucking great movie. I love that movie.
The True Grit remake is great.
Dude, the True Grit remake is so much fucking better than the original one.
Yeah,
like
the original
it's night
True
and
Grit.
Day.
Yeah, the original True Grit is like John Wayne fucking hamming it up, being a dingbat.
I don't even like that movie, but the remake True Grit is fucking amazing.
It's great. Yeah.
And from the
310 to Yuma, I like 310 to Yuma.
310 to Yuma is really good too.
Yeah.
The like one classic western that like stands out to me that like I love and I'll hold above like any other western of the era, and a lot of westerns that came after, is High Noon.
High Noon is also great. I have High Noon. It came with like a collection that I got once.
Oh, it's so good. Like High Noon makes me feel like intense tenseness like no other movie that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Like by the time that movie ends, you're just like, fucking somebody help him! Why won't you help him?
Like it's crazy that like Clint Eastwood did all these westerns, and like obviously like his name is like synonymous with westerns, right? Like even so much like in Back to the Future 3, he's like, my name's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
But like he's like some of the greatest movies ever made are him being a cowboy in those movies, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like,
dude,
I mean, they're icon. He's iconic. Like anybody, you could go to fucking Mars and somebody would know who Clint Eastwood was, right?
It's true. It's a shame about what happened to his personality as he got older.
Yeah. Well, he's old and your brain dies.
Yeah, you start talking to chairs, empty chairs.
I'm gonna talk to this chair like it's Dude, was that like 2012? Was that what that was?
I think it was. I forget.
Yeah, it was like the Mitt Romney one.
He's so old. He looks like the Crypt Keeper.
He is very old. His son is an actor, and he's not very good.
Yeah, his son looks just like him, but he fucking sucks. Like, he's really bad.
He's not his dad. Yeah.
He should get some acting lessons. He could get a lot of jobs.
A fun fact. I'm sure you know this fun fact. It's a John Larroquette fun fact about Clint Eastwood.
Sure, tell me.
He like didn't smoke those cigars. Like he didn't smoke cigars as the Man with No Name but he picked like the nastiest Italian cigars because they shot all of them in Italy, right?
Yeah.
Spaghetti Western. So he picked like the nastiest flavored cigar that he could find, and he smoked and chewed on them, and that's why to make his face be like disgusting, like because he hated the flavor of those shitty fucking cigars.
I think I did hear that before.
They look like they're terrible because like cigars are gross.
Yeah, cigars are pretty gross. Like the place where I worked at before, everybody there but me smoked cigars, so they would all just go out in front of the building and smoke cigars.
Oh, because they were in the mafia.
I guess. And it was just like, I was like, so what do you guys get out of that? And they were like, I don't know.
I mean, it's
nice.
It's like okay every now and then I'll smoke like half of a cigar and I'll be like, yeah, cool. But like you can't inhale, which like is the main reason you smoke, right? Like
like isn't that what smoking's for? You inhale?
Yeah, you want the nicotine in your blood, and that's like the fastest way to do it. But I don't know, and they make me sick. I kind of get sick off of them. So,
oh well.
This turned into an episode about spaghetti westerns.
Yeah, well, we kind of rushed through this episode because it's so fucking good. We were like, I want to get to the next part.
And it's one of those Star Trek episodes too that like it goes fast. Like it's just not a lot of things are happening, but it's the same amount of time as a regular episode. It's just masterfully cadenced. Like the cadence of the show seems quick, even though like there aren't like many things happening, and I think that like there's a lot to be said about that for a great show. Like you could watch people talk for 42 minutes and it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about really great media is that you hours and hours and hours of material and feel like it's been a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's when you have to slog through the worst episodes collection.
Yes.
That you motherfuckers made us do.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's ever going to forgive them for that.
No. No one is ever going to forgive our own listeners.
Maybe I'll be the scapegoat because of the Satan's collection.
Maybe it'll be even worse.
I don't know how we're going to talk for an hour and a half-ish about a fucking animated series episode.
I don't know. Like, we need to do an animated episode soon, though.
I know.
We've kind of been dodging it. And, I mean, somebody pointed out that we haven't had a Voyager episode in 2 collections now.
Yeah, that's probably
there's a reason for that.
Yeah, that's on purpose. What would we even... Oh, God, I can't even think of, like, a Voyager...
They do have that Voyager episode where the Q wants to kill himself.
Oh, right, he wants to die, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a Q episode, and eventually we're going to do a Q collection.
Yeah, I want to save the Q ones for the Q. Like, that's the one where... Is that the one where they, like, make Riker show up?
Yeah, they just bring Riker on board.
What a great bit, right? Like...
And it's like, the best part is it's Riker from like years ago. So he doesn't even know who the fuck, like, what the fuck's happening
like,
or anything.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry, you won't remember any. What a fucking hand wave. Like, what a great, like...
Because, like, if they brought Riker on board and then they, like, sent him back, he'd be like, holy shit, the Voyager is lost in a different fucking quadrant. Yeah. We need to find them.
I'll tell you where they are, right? Dude.
As it turns out, Ron Canada, who played Chibok, his name is Ron Canada.
That's a porn name.
Was actually in an episode of TNG called The Masterpiece Society.
I don't remember that one.
And in an episode of Voyager, he played a weird alien. And the episode was called Juggernaut.
Masterpiece Society? What is that one?
The Masterpiece Society, the Enterprise tries to save a perfect colony from destruction, but the Assistance causes damage of its own.
Oh, it's the clones one.
Oh, yeah. Is
it? No, is it?
I don't know. I'm not going to read through all this.
I'm looking.
We're supposed to be talking about rules of engagement.
I don't know what this one is. No, I don't remember this one. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I guess did we talk about all... Are we good? Did we do it?
Wow, Josh. Wow, I thought you fucking... I just love this show.
I do, but I don't know if... I don't know if we should take a break and come back, or I don't know. I think I don't know what else there is to say, is what I'm saying. I love this episode. It's great.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a short one this time, and I apologize to our listeners for that who waited an extra week for this, but it's good. It's a good episode. We did a good job.
Yeah, I think I hit all the things I wanted to say.
Yeah, I probably fucked it up, but it's good.
I feel like Ronald D. Moore is the greatest. I'll just say that again.
Josh loves to suck that guy's wee-wee.
I would suck his wee-wee hard, because his wee-wee has been around some of my favorite television.
He actually wrote the teleplay for this episode as well.
What a fucking shocker. I didn't know that, but I could tell just by the way that the episode plays out.
Did you know that Ronald D. Moore was nominated for an Emmy, won a Hugo Award, a Saturn Award, and a Universe Reader's Choice Award?
I mean, it's that Universe Reader's Choice Award that really everybody wants. That's the one that really kickstarts your career.
Yeah, you definitely get your own fucking sci-fi series that you can helm completely.
I mean, an Emmy, like, whatever, anyone can win an Emmy, but a Universe Reader, what's it called?
I think that says everything you need to know about the award, honestly.
That's the one you want. That's the one you need.
You want the one I can't remember. That'll help you.
Yeah. It's important to get that
I think
one.
we've said everything we can say about this. I tried to spread it out a little bit more for you guys, but really, this episode is a quick one to watch.
Yeah.
It's so masterfully handled that it feels like it takes 10-15 minutes when it's actually an hour-long show.
Yeah. I think we're also seeing that courtroom drama works for television also. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's why like Law and Order was on for like 47 years. Like people don't get tired of that
There's
shit.
so much drama to be squeezed out of a court case, and it's just inherent. You don't even have to work for it.
Right.
Really.
Everyone understands the stakes immediately are prison or death, right? Like that's it's just so easy to like set up. So I think we're seeing like, and in a Star Trek, it really, really works because you get to throw in like really big consequences, like racism and slavery and Klingon politics, all that shit.
Yeah. Law and Order had actually been on the air for 6 years when this episode came out.
Oh my god, that makes me feel old.
Law and Order premiered on September 13th, 1990.
Oh man, September 13th. 2 days after 9/11.
I wish this was a visual medium so people could see the look that I had on my fucking face when you said that. Jesus Christ, Josh.
Stupid. I mean, coincidence?
Holy fucking Christ on a Cragger.
I've been awake for like 27 hours.
We still gotta do the emails episode after this too, so it's gonna be a good one. Tune in for that next week, or if you're a patron of ours on our Patreon, you'll be getting it on the same day you get this episode.
Yeah.
So head over there and check us out on patreon.com/mclasspodcast if you want to sign up and get the emails episode a week early.
I think it's only like $1, right?
No, it's $5.
It's only $5. I'm
thinking about dropping it. I'm not sure.
No.
We'll see. No, give us $5. Give us $5.
But you get a bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, you get other stuff for the $5. And I mean, the $1 gets you access to our Discord server, gets you the ability to vote.
That's what it is.
It gets you the ability to vote on what episodes we're going to be doing and to give us ideas.
That's actually super important because, like, as much as I really want to do the Satan's episode, that's all the ideas I got.
He's got the one idea and then we're fucked.
Then the show's over because I don't have any more ideas about stuff.
So you really better help us out or we're done.
Yeah, that's gonna...
Become our patron or we're fucking done.
It's like threatening them. Like, we're just gonna stop.
If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, where you could see all the funnest tweets on the internet from us,
yes,
You can follow us over there at M-Class Podcast. And if you want to send an email in, which will be read on the episode that you get today if you became a patron.
Yes.
Then you can send it in to mclassemail@gmail.com. Singular, because I fucked it. But it's fine.
No, it's definitely fine.
I would like to thank everybody for listening to this episode. Hopefully it was a good one. I can't fucking see into the future and figure out if it turns out to be good or not.
I think it was good. I feel good about it.
I feel alright. We'll see.
I feel like I ruined the episode. That's what I feel like.
What? Josh, you've never ruined an episode of anything in your life.
That might be not entirely true.
No.
There was
Write in and tell us that Josh never ruins anything because he's the best.
There was that episode of Who's the Boss I ruined.
That was ruined before you got there, Josh.
Damn, fuck you, Who's the Boss?
Yeah, Who's the Boss could suck
Yo,
dick.
I hate Who's the Boss.
Yeah, Who's the Boss sucks dick. But anyway, bye everybody.
I hate Who's the Boss, bye.
Who's the Boss could suck my dick. Fuck you, Tony Danza, bye.
Yo, Angela.
Drink Sluggo Cola, the slimiest cola in the galaxy.